Hello, amazing people. Joan Nielsen here, sitting on my awesome chair that my husband made from my swing that broke. I just love it. I want to talk to you about a book. I want to do a book review for you. Awesome book. See if you can see it. Of course, I got me this book. I did a couple videos before about it, giving you some stuff that I had learned and stuff, but I want to do like the full, well, maybe not the full, but at least a lot of things that I really liked about the book. There's so many things in here that that are of interest and, well, just so many nuggets that I got from this book. Sorry, people. Can you see me? Let me try and fix me. Don't let anything dull your spark. Doreen Virtue. Now, I love this book. Clarissa got it for me for, I think, my birthday, but it came early. So I got a little early, and it was really good. There's 3 different sections, which is really cool. And the first part actually introduces, I'll actually tell you what it's called, the first part. The Science of Spark, or Sparkle, okay? And it's really good. It goes into a lot of different scenarios. It gives you a lot of different things. There's some pages here that I marked off that I wanted to really get into. So there's a part that talks about de-stressing your life, and from self-blame to self-worth. Okay, so I skipped, sorry, I just found that I skipped part 1, so we'll go back to that. But I want to talk to you about from self-blame to self-worth. Feeling unworthy and unloved and assuming that others will reject you are symptoms of trauma. So it talks about like different traumas. It talks about, at the beginning part, talks about okay, so the first part talks about different dramas that you could have been through in your life. It talks about trauma, and stress. So how these different things in our life, how we attract them, and how they're so awesome. How they connect with us in our own brains and in our own life. How we constantly attract it into our life. She also talks about like different foods and stuff that can have an effect on us if we're having too much stress and stuff that can dull our spark. The second part, she goes more into how to regain your spark. So of course the de-stressing is important. Foods you eat are important, and of course certain people you connect with, right? I've talked about all this before, which is really good. And how to stop the noise in your head. There's so many different awesome sections in this book. It's just wonderful. Being afraid of the future is a post-traumatic flashback, and it's a flash forward where you're expecting and possibly creating a future that is worse than your past. So in other words, she's talking about here is like your thoughts, like we've talked about before, what your beliefs are. We've talked about that before, and because you've been in post-traumatic stress, or she calls it differently, post-traumatic, there's different triggers and stuff, right? And because we get stuck in there, you know, we get into those habits. You know, maybe you lived in an alcoholic environment, maybe you lived in, your parents had a bad relationship and argued all the time. Maybe there's something bad that did happen to you as a child, or you witnessed something bad that happened to you as a child. Whatever it is that's going on, you could be bringing it from relationship to relationship, from year to year, from career to career, from house to house, from whatever it is, and you're just constantly bringing it in because it's all you know. And then some really juicy nuggets from the last part. sparkling around other people. This is so big because I've talked to you many times that we, not only do we attract who we are, but we become who we connect with. So if we're staying with people who are the same or similar to us, and that's what we're attracting into our life, guess what? That's exactly who we're going to stay. That's who exactly we're going to be. We're going to continue that cycle. If we want to be different, we have to act different. We have to connect with different people. So I want to read you a part from Addictive Relationships. If you have a tendency towards addictions, you have an addictive personality. This is an inclination to overdo everything in an attempt to feel better. You may also have genetic predispositions toward alcoholism or drug abuse if a relative also had these issues. So you're picking up things as well, right? So if you did have a parent who was an alcoholic, maybe you're bringing that with you, or drugs or whatever, and it's constantly there with you, right? She also talks about bad boys, but you can use it for bad girls too, because a lot of times that's what we go after, is we go after the ones who are the bad boys or girls. Then she talks about a key, and it's all capitals and dotted in between, right? There's a period in between. So respect, RESPECT, right? We all know the word or the song. Mutual respect is essential to a happy, healthy, long-term relationship. A study found that couples who treated each other with disrespect are apt to spend more time apart following an argument than mutually respectful couples. Respecting each other is a way to communicate honestly and get past arguments and into healing. So, like, you may not argue all the time, like you may get past the parts where you don't have to argue anymore because you're able to communicate. Maybe your spouse or whatever said something that upset you, but instead of having to say something about it, you walk it off and you decide, do I really need to communicate with this? Do I really need to say this? Do I need to, and if you come back and think about it later, then maybe you're calm enough where now you're not going to argue about it. You're not going to argue about how right you are or your limitations or anything like that. You're going to say, okay, this is what happened. Here's my feelings. And this is why they happened. But I'm okay now. And then, or make it so that they can understand, and maybe they'll reword it a different way so that it doesn't hurt your feelings next time. There's so much good stuff in here. Developing healthy relationships, she talks about also developing good family relationships. And she talks about you are worthy and deserving of healthy friendships. Like so many times, and I know for myself, like I've talked about this before, like I believed that I didn't deserve to have, and it's not like I openly believed it, I just didn't think I was worthy enough. I was so shy, and all the really cool kids, all the ones who were confident and the people I wanted to be, I thought that they were so out of my league. And so I made myself smaller because I just didn't want to be that person, or I just didn't think I could be that person. With all the doubts, all the world that I was carrying on my shoulders, I picked people who were abusive, who kept me down to my low level instead of. And then she gives you ideas on where you can meet some really cool people, the people that you actually want to connect with. And of course there's yoga studios, gyms, healing center, bookstores, spiritual centers, churches or temples, prayer vigils, dog parks. How cool is that? Yep, I never thought that. Hiking trails, of course, meditation classes, and the list goes on and on. There are so many really cool things in here that can help you to get to a different level where you are. I love this book. I really do. A lot of it I already knew because being a counselor, you know. But, you know, I got to tell you a story because in this book, she also talks about her stories and stuff too. And I think it's really important for you to know that even though a counselor goes through the training to be a counselor, even though they know the signs of abuse, even though that coaches know this, even though for whatever reason we don't see it in our own lives until we're ready to see it. And me myself, although I was a counselor, although I had gone for school, I had gone to school to be educated into counseling, I knew what the signs were of abuse. I still stayed in an abusive relationship. I stayed in an abusive relationship because it's where I thought I was supposed to be at the time. That was who I was at the time. Of course, I didn't realize it was an abusive relationship, and I wouldn't say that, oh, every morning when I woke up, oh, this is an abusive relationship. Of course not. I was walking on eggshells every single morning. I was feeling bad about myself because I was told that's who I was. I was not very confident. There were so many things. And I don't blame them because they were doing exactly what they needed to do, and I was doing exactly what I needed to do. And I empower that now because now I know where I was, and I empower that person. She was doing the very best job she could do. She didn't know any better. Even though she knew all the signs and stuff, you don't know until you know. So, if you're in an abusive relationship and you don't know about it, you just ask yourself simple questions. Does it feel right to you? Are you walking on eggshells every day? You can't change that person. Don't try. The only thing you can do is change yourself and how you react to situations and how you're reacting to your life right now. It's 100% totally up to you. And I want to just read you this last paragraph. I'm sure I'll go back and give you more insights into this book, but I want to read you this last one because it's so cool. When you sparkle, you inspire others to do the same. You become a candle bringing much needed light to our world. Other people recognize your sparkle. Even if they don't understand why, your sparkle triggers a recollection within others that could be their catalyst for regaining their own. So sparkle on and don't let anything dull your sparkle. And you know what? That was as if it was written for me because today I also got some insight. The sun is like going the other way now. Insight on how important my word is, how important the way I do things is to somebody. Somebody needs my message. Somebody needs your message. And you don't have to do video blogs, and you don't have to do blogs, and you don't have to do whatever it is you don't want to do. I do them because I love doing them. I didn't at first. No way. And if you had told me 2 or 3 years ago that this is what I would be doing, I would tell you no way. But if it helps one person, then I'm doing exactly what I came here to do. And whatever it is you are doing, if you are kind to people and you are helping in whatever way you can, and you are doing your very best to be the best person you can be, and you're saying it the way that you want to say it and doing it the way you want to do it, then you are doing it right. So keep growing, keep shining, and keep empowering because you are worth it. I love you. Make an amazing day, everybody.